Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I've been asked if I would make a video showing how to make a masculine shaker card. So this is what my project is for today. Okay. I had to think of something to use rather than sequins and all things glittery, something that's more masculine. So I've used the Geared Up Garage set. And I used the dies to die cut the cogs to be the shakers. Okay, I'm going to change my colour scheme, but otherwise I think everything's going to be about the same. So I'll start off by telling you the card pieces that you're going to be needing. I'm being a bit brave here because I'm putting green and yellow together, which is very unusual for me, but I'm sure it's going to work beautifully. So to start off with, the card base is Tranquil Tide, which is one of our retiring colours. Only 2 weeks left of this, I'm afraid now. And this measures 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, scored and folded at 4 1/8, which is 21 by 14.5 centimetres, scored and folded at 10.5 centimetres. And then you need a piece of crushed curry that has been die cut using the Rectangle Stitched dies, and it's these wider ones here. As you know, I count my dies, the smaller the die, the smaller the number, so I start counting from the inside. So this has been die cut with number 7, which is the second to largest. If you don't have these dies, the size of this is 3 3/8 inches by 4 3/8 inches, which is 8.5 by 11.1 centimetres. For the inside of the card, you need a piece of Whisper White, exactly the same as the crushed curry. So I've die cut mine. If you're not die cutting it, then it'll be the same measurements as that. All the measurements will be in the box below the video, and the box below the video can only be accessed if you're watching the video on YouTube and if you're watching on a PC, laptop, something like that. It appears that you can't access the box if you're on a phone, on a mobile. Right, next piece you need is a piece of Tranquil Tide, and that measures 3 1/4 inches by 4 1/2 inches, which is 8.2 by 11.4 centimetres. You need a piece of DSP. As I say, this is from the, I think the DSP is called Classic Garage Designer Series paper, and this measures 2 7/8 inches by 4 1/8 inches, which is 7.3 by 10.5 centimetres. And then you need a piece of acetate. As you can see, I put a piece of a post-it note on mine so that I don't actually lose it. But if you do this, do make sure that you only put the sticky bit on the very outside, just in case it leaves a mark. It shouldn't do, but if it does leave a mark, you want it to be on the bit that gets hidden. And this is the same size as this, which is 2 7/8 inches by 4 1/8 inches, which is 7.3 by 10.5 centimetres. And then you will need scraps of Tranquil Tide. What am I doing with Tranquil Tide? I think I said that because I'm not sure what colour I'm going to do for the cogs. I think I'm going to be doing crushed curry, so you also need scraps of this one, but I brought the green over just in case I want to use that one. I'll tell a lot more easily once I've got the card together. Also with the car, what I have done is I have die cut 4 plain layers underneath and just one stamped one on top. Because I knew it wasn't going to be easy to get dimensionals on there to prop it up, I decided to do it solid because then it's up and it's going to stay up. It's not moving anywhere because it's really nice and solid like that. So on that, I've already die cut my spare cars, but I will remind you about that when I get there. So to start off with, let's start building up from the bottom. So this piece here is a piece that's going inside. Let's do that. And I'm just using Tombow for everything here. Yep, that's... I've got the right side there. Yep. If you don't have these dies, you really want to have a think about it, because they are gorgeous. So there's that one, and this one I'm going to put on the outside. There we go. I think that's okay. Next, what I did was I used the Designer Series paper, then I put that in the centre. I didn't measure this or anything, I just eyeballed it to get it in what I consider to be the centre. Next we need to die cut this. Okay, so let's do our stamping. We also need a piece of Whisper White for the sentiment, which I forgot to bring over. So let me get a piece from my box. Right, let me just pull myself back in again. Right, so what I'm using out of the Geared Up Garage stamps, I'm using this one, and I'm also using where it says Best Dad. As you can see, it's like a worn stamp. It's not solid black at the back there. Okay, so when you see mine coming up not very solid, it's not lousy stamping on my part. I'm using Memento ink. Okay, so that needs to be die cut. Now I need the car, and I don't think that's big enough, is it? Well, it might be if I do that way. Yes, let's do it sideways. Okay. I'm not sure that's really very dark, is it? Should we try that one again? Let's try taking the ink pad to the stamp. Maybe that'll make it a bit better. That's much better. Okay, so that's for die cutting as well. So I'm going to bring the Big Shot up now. So I'm just going to be using my regular magnetic platform here. So we need that and that. The dies for the Geared Up Garage are called Garage Gears, and what I'm going to be using here, that's for the car, that's for the sentiment, and the cogs that I am using, I will be using that one that one and the joint 3 there. Can you see those? Yep. On the first card I used these ones as well, but they don't have holes in the centre, and I didn't think that looked quite so nice. And this is the advantage of me doing a card immediately beforehand. It gives me a chance to remember why I've made some of the decisions I've made, because I do question myself at times. Right, I think that looks about right. Oops. If you find your die does that, in fact, first of all, let's make sure, that if you've got a dip in your cutting mat, make sure the dip is down so it's touching your magnetic platform. Hold on, which was the good one? That one. One of the nice things about the new dies, the Stampin' Up dies that we will be getting with the new catalogue, is that whereas times like now we have to position the die in the right place so that we get the same amount of gap all the way round, we won't have to do that with Stampin' Up dies, because as we put them on, it covers up right to the very edge, so you automatically get the right amount. I hope that makes sense. I will certainly explain it once we're using the new ones. Right, that is not going. This really is quite a fiddle. It would be nice not to have to do this. Can move over. Ah, is that it? I think so. So those, that two. Sometimes I just trim off the edge if I find that I've gone too far over one side, which I can do with the car, but I can't do it with that. You'll see why in a jiffy. Okay, so no, the car's good, done that okay. So what happens now with this one, that's out like that. Oh, that's okay. Where's my paper piercer? See, this also die cuts this little shape here, and of course that will fit back over that if that's what you want, but I don't. What I do want though is I want to have that in yellow so I can fit it around the white. So now I'm also going to start, although I'm going to do it in green, aren't I? I've already die cut all the cogs that I want for my card. Unless I want the green, I haven't got all of those done, so I'm going to do them here, and I'm going to show you what I do with these because they need to be separated. Right, will that fit on? Yes, that fits on, and that fits on. So I think that's all I need, isn't it? Right, so that one I will save in case I can think of something to do with that for another project. To me that looks like a speech bubble, so I think it could be used for quite a few things. And then there's that one which I will be fitting around there like that. Okay, and also while you're die cutting you will need to do another 4 of those if you want to do it the same way that I'm doing it. Right, so put those off there for a moment. I have finished with the Big Shot, so let's move that out of the way. Right, first of all, let's deal with the cogs. I'll tidy those up later. There's that. Right, just getting in a little panic there because I couldn't see all of the green ones in case I decide to go for green. There we go. Right, what I do is with my little paper snips, I need to cut these two off. I don't use the big one. And then I need to tidy up the end there. So what I do with this, I cut it off right against the cog there. So I've cut that one off. And then I cut these two off as well. Okay, so I finish up with that, which is rubbish. And then for this one, I come back, and these are two like points. So I just cut those off into definite points. Which make it look more like a star than anything. Okay, see that? So I just need to round those off to make it look more like a cog. And then that one. You just make sure there's no pointed bits there. Any kind of fussy cutting that you do, and I mean this is effectively fussy cutting, if you leave pointy bits, that will tell everybody who notices it that you've done some fussy cutting. Okay, so just cut that one off straight across, and then just cut those corners round. So you may be able to see that I've cut that on the screen, but you're not going to notice that once it's in the shaker. Okay, so that's those. Right. So here's all the others that I've done. So I can choose if I want to have green, and I can choose to have crushed curry if I want. So let's put the card together now, I think. What's that bit? Oh, I need my big shot again, don't I? Of course I do. Right, let's bring the big shot back again. That is the frame to go over the shaker. Now what I did for this one, again, I used these right, that's right, because I've told you 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Okay, so you need to use, and I've just thrown my piece of paper away. Did I? I wrote it down what pieces, what size I need. Oh, you silly person. Right, try and remember, was it 4? 4 seems to ring a bell, and number 6. Hey, yes, it's number 4 and number 6. So what we're going to do with this is we are going to cut the outer piece, preferably with a cutting edge down. Okay, I've done it so you don't waste too much paper there, cardstock. Just make sure that's going right on. And then that one, just position that in the centre. Again, I'm not measuring. Just look at it to try and make sure it's straight. Oops. There we go. I hope that didn't move. No, I don't think so. Okay, so let's have a look. Obviously you finish up with this piece here for another project. Okay, that can go there, that can go back, and this is the piece we need now. Okay, so that's our frame for our shaker. Now we can put the big shot away. Let's move the dies out of the way, we don't need those. So that's our card. Now first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our acetate onto the back of our frame. So once you've decided what side your frame is, in fact let me put this on here. I don't know which is going to be easier for you to see, whether you can see that or not. It's got all glitter over it. I'm just wiping this on the towel that I keep on my seat. That's got rid of so much of it, that's good. Okay, you can't really see, can you? Nothing's going to make that any easier, I don't think. So, you will see once I start putting the... Oh, I think it's probably easier to do it this way. You will definitely see this. Right, make sure I've got the... That's it, this is the wrong side. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Tombow just by the edge, and you really do not need too much, because if you put too much on, it's going to ooze onto the visible part of your acetate, and you really don't want that. But you must make sure that you don't leave any gaps. So what I find it's best to do, if you've watched me do videos before, you will have seen me do this, I'm sure. And that is, I take a piece of paper and I blot that, and then it just takes off the worst. You have to do that quickly, obviously, otherwise your cardstock will get stuck to your paper. And then this one, pop this on top without moving, because once you've got glue on this, you won't be getting it off. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just turn that over and give it a good press. There we go. So next what I'm going to do is I am going to put on here my strips, and these are our foam adhesive strips, and they are twice the depth of our dimensionals. What do I remember? Was this 1/4 inch? Oh, of course I haven't got the proper thingamy here. I think these are 1/4 of an inch and our dimensionals are 1/8 of an inch high. Now something some people do, I don't, but some people go on the edge that's going to be on the inside of their shaker and they go over it with their dust buddy that they use when they're embossing, which does work, but it always worries me that I'm going to get some on that part and it's not going to stick very well. And if I try doing it once that is down, then you get the powder on here. So there's a decision for you to make which way you want to do that. Now just put that down there. And it's important that when you do jobs like this, that you put this down as one long straight strip rather than doing bits and pieces. And I'll show you why. In fact, let me put this bit on first, then I'll show you. So this I am putting in the middle of the frame there. So not too close to the inside and not too close to the outside. Alright, so that's not going to be big enough to do that in one piece. So that can go back on there and wait for another job. And what I'm meaning is, right, let me see, can you see here? Right, you can see the adhesive foam there. It's one long strip, nice and tidy. You can see it along there again, nice and tidy. But then you come to this bit here. Come back, where are you? I can't see with what I'm... Why can't you see that? The other one was working perfectly okay. Maybe because it looks so rubbish. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go, got it. You see? It's only got that one piece that's an insert, but it doesn't look quite so nice. That's with just one join on it. If you had lots of joins, it wouldn't look very nice at all. Right. As I'm putting the cogs in here and not something fine like beads or sequins, I don't have to worry too much about this being without any gaps at all because my cogs aren't going to be coming out of there. Now I've just pulled that strip off of here, haven't I? Right, let me just pop that down there. Can't go down. Oh, determined, isn't it? Let me go that side. Oh, that's better. Right, let's put this back on there. There we go. I'll keep that happy till next time. Right, okay. I'm going to cut that off because it's going round the bend a bit. There we go, that's better. So the others I'm quite happy with. Right, now I'm going to assume that I want to use the yellow ones. And the important thing here is make sure you don't put too many in there. If we put them on there, don't we? We don't put them on this bit. If you put too many in here, they'll get on top of each other and then they won't move. Now, do we want yellow or do we want green? I think we want green, don't we? Or do you want a selection? I think we'll have a selection. How many have we got? It's 12. I like these little ones. Alright, that's it. Don't do any more. How many have we got? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's fine. Right, I'm just going to push them towards the centre. I'm not going to push them all on top of each other. As I say, too many and they will get stuck. Right, I'm going to take this off now. And take this off. If you think your adhesive foam strips aren't particularly sticky anymore, just put some Tombow around it and that will hold. Right, and then I'm going to bring this towards me because I need to get my head over a bit. And then you just place this down so that you've got the same amount of crushed curry frame on the outside. It should automatically cover your designer series paper. There shouldn't be any coming out the sides there. Nope. Well, there's a little bit there because mine wasn't quite the right size. But there we go. And just give that a good push. There we go. There we go, it's moving. There we go. Alright, so there we go. There's our shaker. Now make sure our card is opening up the right way. Now what I do with the cards is I bring my mat back again. Make sure they're all facing up the right way. Oops, and then what I do is I put some Tombow all around the outside. That's coming out a little bit thick. But the worst that's going to happen with that is it's going to be going over my fingers. Okay. So, put 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have to work very quickly with that. Put them all on top and then line them all up, which is quite easy to do. Okay. And once you're happy, just give them a squeeze. I'm surprised that Tombow didn't come oozing out on that one. I thought it'd come out rather thick. So there we go, we got a nice thick card there, so that can go there. That was right to use the green and yellow in there. Now this one, there's two ways of fixing this because we're going over an edge here, okay? You can either, I haven't tried this one before, so I'm trying it in front of you. So if I put that on like that, I'm just taking my scrap of Whisper White, cutting a thin strip. I can see that's not a straight line, but that doesn't matter. As long as it doesn't come over there. Let's make that a bit thinner. Yep, that's fine. Now that just needs to be a bit shorter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this on the back. Let's narrow that down a bit. And then at least I know that's going to stay in place. That's probably the easiest way of doing this. So what I'll do is I'm going to put it on my paper because this is nice and hard, whereas that's a bit squidgy. So if I press on it, this might come out. Okay, so that's fitting inside there perfectly. Okay, and put some Tombow on here. And pop that there. There we go. So that's not going to go anywhere now. Alright. That was a much better idea than what I did with the red one. Now what I did on this, I did actually use a dimensional on there, but I have to say I didn't like the look of that one. So what I'm going to do is on here, of course this is my centre, so I'm going to line this up. This is not quite so easy, is it? I'm going to have to line it up at the top here. Hold on a moment. So that's 1, 2, 3. That one's in, that one's in. Okay, so that's about centre. Right, that dark line. So I know that I could put this here and it's in the centre. That of course is always assuming that I've put these in the centre of my card. It's possible. I'm just going to put that along there. And I'm just doing that so that I've got those wings onto the frame. Okay, and then with the car, I think I just glued that, didn't I? Yes, I did. This was a little bit tricky though because I glued it in the wrong place, I have to confess. So decide where you want it first. Okay, so between there and there. Just going to eyeball that there to there. That's the easy bit, and then it's down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it on this bit here. There we go. At least with this one the car is grounded, whereas this one the car was a bit floaty, really, it was mid-air. But that one I've been able to keep the wheels down. So there we go. What do you think about that? Nice masculine card and not a dark dreary colour. There we go. So you don't always have to have sequins, beads and all the other bits and pieces for shaker cards. You can make your own. Okay. I think that's a lot nicer than the red one. Don't know what you think. Partly because I've put too much in there. It keeps getting stuck. Which is why I counted that to make sure I didn't overdo it again. So there we go, that's today's project. Hope you like it, and as always I hope you give it a try. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the box below the video. I'm always happy to help and I do like reading your feedback. I will be putting in the box in the bottom all the products that I've used and the measurements and a link to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. So if you'd like to purchase anything here, you just click on the link and you'll see the numbers of everything below anyway. The only thing that you won't be able to get after the 3rd of June is the designer series paper, because that will be retiring. And I have to say it's probably been the best masculine designer series paper we've had for a very long time. I really don't have very much left of it at all. probably enough to get me through the next 2 weeks, but that is it. So if you want some of that, do order it before it all disappears. And finally, if you've enjoyed today's video and you'd like to be notified each time I upload a new video, please click on the subscribe now button, which is down there in the bottom right hand corner, and then click on the bell, and that means you'll get the online, no you won't, you'll get the email notification each time I've uploaded a video. And also, if you place an order in my shop, please remember to quote the May 2019 HOSTESS code. If you do that, then I can send you some free product after the month end. So there we go. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.